Today, I'm joined by Siobhan, who I've known for, actually, Siobhan, you'll have to help me out, 7, 8 years. Siobhan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Siobhan Latisse, and I head up solutions engineering for a cloud software company.
And how long have you been there? So how long have I known you?
Nearly 10 years. It'll be 10 years in January next year.
Wow. Okay. So I actually do remember the time when you joined because you weren't alone. I think you were with 2 or 3 other people. But you came straight out of university. You're in a tech career. What was the degree?
I studied biochemistry, so
Yeah.
not exactly IT or software.
No, but science then. So not so far away. But you didn't go into biochemistry. So you actually joined our company, and instead you started a sales career.
Yep, so I signed up for a grad scheme. I was really looking for something challenging and something I could get my teeth into out of university. So the grad scheme came along, and that's how I joined.
Okay, so you're working with us. You're in a sales development role, and what essentially you're doing as a junior person in the whole sales team is booking meetings through getting on the phone and making a lot of calls, and emails and so on, and pitching a value proposition. So I remember again a conversation, maybe a year after, I don't know, thinking and asking you, are you going into sales then? To which you said no, and you were going to do something else. So what else was it that you wanted to do then?
So I loved the sales development role in terms of understanding the product and how it solves problems for customers, but that actually led me into thinking that professional services would be a great area for me to get into. I loved being customer facing, and I actually wanted to get deeper into the product and implement it for customers.
Okay, so got that, but I know that so a degree in biochemistry, a year initially pitching a solution, but just pitching the value proposition, getting a meeting and moving on. To go from that to implementing the solution for real customers is quite a change and quite challenging, and I would have thought daunting. I mean, how did you go about getting yourself ready? I mean, even to convince someone in an interview that you've got the skills to do that.
Yeah, so I, in my own time and off my own back, went and started learning the platform. There were lots of really great people in the company who helped me out with that and gave me some great advice, you being one of them. Actually the company was willing to invest in me and send me on project management courses and actually really encourage that internal mobility rather than looking for, candidates externally.
Okay, so, and then did you initially take the role in the UK, or at what point did you end up, I'm going to say, getting on a plane?
Quite quickly after, yeah. So we were expanding into the US, and a role came up quite quickly after joining professional services to San Francisco.
And I remember that well because I was taking a few trips out there too, and I know it was one of the core foundations of our success in the US was having you doing some knowledge transfer. So there you are, doing projects, small projects, larger projects for a variety of customers. At some point, your time in the US ends and you're coming back to the UK. Did you come back into professional services, or did you switch again?
I switched again. So I came back and went into the solutions engineering role as an individual contributor.
Okay, so now I want to say, because we're going to come to the pinnacle of your career so far shortly. So you've moved roles. I mean, did you join the company planning all that? Did it just happen to you? Were you internally headhunted? I mean, what inspired you, let's say, to make those changes?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a plan that I had. I've always been somebody who's wanted to move forward and look for the next opportunity, but be open to what that might be. And in most of the moves that I've made, that has been, a headhunting situation. Somebody has recognized a skill set or a talent in me and encouraged me to move forward. I didn't actually know what solutions engineering was when I was in professional services. And once I started looking into it and could see that there was some transferable skills there, I was really, really interested.
Now, I mean, I love that. I love listening to it. And I agree entirely that, you know, if you've got general ambition to just delight customers or to do well, or to be fulfilled, then I think that the premise I believe in, which is just do a great job and you'll be noticed, and you'll be naturally moved along, is better than thinking you've got to have some kind of grand plan. But clearly you've done well, done really well. And then after being a individual contributor solutions engineer for a while, and I've known obviously your bosses at the time, I mean, how long ago was it that you then got promoted to the role? Well, in fact, you've been promoted into the role managing Europe, and now you're doing something even more. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was promoted into the role to manage Europe around 4 years ago. And then just recently, I have been promoted into a global role. So quite a rapid increase in responsibilities, but I'm enjoying the challenge.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and I would say, I mean, you know, let's see how far you go from here. But wow, I mean, so without necessarily revealing your age, unless you want to, you know, how long ago was it when you joined the company?
So that's been in less than 10 years. I'm in my early 30s. So,
yeah. So, look, this is inspiring, and I think it's inspiring for anyone looking for a career in tech. And I shouldn't have to say incredibly inspiring, surely, for women and for girls at school thinking, I quite fancy a career like that. And I know you've got thoughts about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, anybody should be able to do anything. And I was, you know, really lucky when my parents were raising me that I didn't ever think there wasn't anything that I could do if I put my mind to it. And I think too often, you know, we think about these buckets and these kind of categories that people fit into, but actually for anybody, and especially for women, like look at what you are passionate about and what you are good at and where your skill sets lie. You know, there's nothing to say that if you're good at project management and you're good at being customer facing, like you can't do something like professional services or solutions engineering just because there's a little bit of a, you know, kind of technical product side to that. That's important, but it's not as important as, you know, understanding business value and people's pain points and actually just having a general great rapport and partnership with your internal colleagues, but also your external stakeholders.
Mm-hmm. Last question, and we're going to be out of time. And I know what I want to go on to in another video will be, you know, what you really get out of the role. But okay, without wishing to big you up too much, because I don't believe people are super women or super men or whatever it might be. But, you know, people might say, and surely you can't mix all that with being a mother too. Or, you know, if you were, you know, are you taking 2 weeks off and coming straight back to work? But you haven't done that, yet you're a mother. So, you know, twice. That
two young boys.
Yeah, that, I mean, that to me should inspire people, to inspire women, girls at school and women to think you can do all that. You can achieve promotions and recognition and not be held back because you want to do, you know, what you want to do, which is go have a baby or two. And you had 6 months off, didn't you? Twice.
9 months off twice, actually. Yeah, with my 2 young boys.
And yet, despite that, I mean, you know, the notion that if you take that much time off, you are going to be, how should I say this correctly, you know, disadvantaged when you come back to work and end up being sidelined. That really hasn't happened to you.
No, and I think you have to be confident that going off and having children is actually a massive asset to a company. The skills that you gain and the pressure that you're under and how you handle all of that, that's a great thing for a company to then invest in when you come back. Like all of a sudden you can handle 3 or 4 things going on all at once rather than just 1 or 2.
We got to stop there because we're out of time. Siobhan, fascinating and inspiring listening to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.